Hey everyone, you just tuned in to the NetSuite podcast. I'm your host, Kendall Fisher, and in honor of Black Business Month, I'll be joined by Wale Forrester, the co-founder of Hustle Clean, an active care brand that manufactures antibacterial and antimicrobial wipes to clean, sanitize, deodorize, and disinfect bodies and surfaces for use in the fitness community and beyond. Forrester will dive into the brand's history, started by him and two former football players who he played with at UC Berkeley, the challenges they faced in launching the brand, and the secret ingredient to their pitch, which got them in the door at big-name retailers like Target and Walmart. He'll explain how the business quickly outgrew its systems of spreadsheets and, I quote, the back of napkins. So they decided to implement NetSuite to automate many of their accounting processes as well as inventory management. He'll discuss how they've overcome obstacles in their manufacturing amid the pandemic and the lessons learned over the past year and a half that they'll carry forward as Hustle Clean continues to grow and succeed. Forrester is passionate, he's authentic, and he is a wonderful guest who truly loves what he does and what it brings to the world. So stay tuned because you won't want to miss this story.
You're listening to the NetSuite podcast, where we discuss what's happening within NetSuite, why we're doing it, and where we're heading in the future. We'll dive into the details about the software and the people at NetSuite who are behind all the moving parts. We'll also feature customer growth stories, discussing the ups and downs of running a company and how one integrated system can help your business continue to scale.
Hi, Wale. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're stoked to have you. I'm good. I'm really excited to give our listeners the story of Hustle Clean, which, you know, I gave them a brief description of the company in the introduction to this podcast episode, but in order to really understand Hustle Clean, we need to understand its history. So why don't you take us back to the beginning and how Hustle Clean, originally Shower Pill, actually first started?
It all started at the University of California at Berkeley, where I was a football player, a collegiate football player. My partner, Justin Forsett, and I, we had another third co-founder, Wendell Hunter. We all came together and realized that there was this pain point called a shower pill. The joke was a shower pill, but really the pain point was a time when a shower was optimal, but not possible or convenient. You know, because we played football at Cal and we had a rigorous academic schedule, we didn't always take showers when we were supposed to. We were always going from one thing to another. So the guys in the locker room would say, "Don't judge me, I'm taking a shower pill." Fast forward, we graduated from the University of California at Berkeley, and that problem, that pain point, graduated with us, right? We found ourselves being professionals, fathers, husbands, NFL players, firefighters, who had these times that kept reoccurring where a shower was optimal, but not possible or convenient. So we said, let's do something about it. And we created a medical grade towelette that kills 99.9% of germs in the body without drying the skin out. And we called it a shower pill as to pay homage to that joke, that knee state that we had when we were students at Cal.
You know I told you this before we hit record here, but it is really difficult for me to hear that you went to Berkeley, considering I went to USC. And for those that don't know, there is a little bit of a rivalry there. So, but I guess Wale, we'll just have to continue the conversation. I'll try to put that on my mind. Okay.
Okay. I forgive you.
So basically what was happening was, and I get it actually, because the Coliseum was far, it wasn't on campus. It wasn't directly on campus. It was about a 1.5 mile walk from the Coliseum to campus. I actually played soccer, so I know how that went, where you just didn't have the time in between, like with a full schedule of classes, to shower. And so you would wipe off with whatever you could, a wet towel or just put your clothes back on. So that's kind of where this came from, this towelette, this medical grade towelette. But you have this idea. I mean, you guys are playing football. You obviously graduate, and you became a firefighter, right?
I did. I became a firefighter in the city of Oakland. Yeah.
And your partner was in the NFL?
My partner was in the NFL. Yeah, played football. At that time, he was with the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. So then walk me through how you go about taking this idea as two people that have never really started a business before, right? And it's kind of this idea that you have. How do you turn that into a reality? What steps did you take?
I would be remiss if I didn't, say that I grew up in a restaurant family, right? Like my family owned a Jamaican restaurant. I think it's like on its 37th year now, still up and running in Los Angeles. So I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit. I always knew that through hard work and diligence, you can provide a lifestyle for yourself through your business. So, but CPG, like consumer packaged goods sector, like this was foreign to us, right? So like, so we had to kind of like rely on like research, and rely on some of the things that we learned at Cal, whether it's like researching, finding the answer to problems, and that's what we tapped into in order to figure out what to do and how to do it. It was that simple. We researched.
I mean, that's great. That's where you got to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
So what challenges then did you face in getting it off the ground? Like, I mean, let's start with resources. How did you go about fundraising?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first investors and fundraisers were the founders, right? We, Justin and I and our third partner at the time, our third partner isn't with our company anymore. Life happens and,
of course,
the circle gets smaller. Everybody doesn't get to go to the next level. We all were employed. We all had professions, right? We all had like W-2s, right? And we all got together and said that we believe in this thing, this side hustle so much that we were going to equally put money in to fund this project. So we were the first fundraisers ourselves, and we put our money together. We got our co-manufacturer. We went through the product R&D. We paid for all the testing, all the materials, and then we also funded the first run. And we actually stored the product. The first warehouse was my townhome in Oakland. That's where we kept all of the product. So we put our money together first and foremost. We believe in our dream first, so that others could believe in our dream after. And after our first run was successful, we saw some traction on Amazon. We were able to raise a friend and family round, mostly friends who had jobs or played in the league, and they put money towards the company. And that's how we got our first funding.
Wow. And then what about now? Where are you at now? Are you still, are you still going about that route, or are you raising capital through other
definitely. Yeah. Because of our growth and how fast we're growing, we are raising money. But like I said, we're distributed nationwide in Walmart and Target. Like, it takes resources to play at the level that we're playing right now. So we are continuously raising money, and mostly because we're playing on a level where you need funding in order to do it well.
Yeah, and to keep up with how fast you're growing.
Absolutely.
So what was your original go-to-market strategy? You've now mentioned Amazon and Walmart. Were you originally just going to be like Amazon first, or kind of what was your plan there?
I mean, first and foremost, we wanted to have a proof of concept. Like, we made this for us in a sense, and we wanted to make sure that our community really, really resonated with it. So we took it to the Seattle Seahawks locker room. They loved it. The players loved it. The administrative staff loved it. Everyone loved it. Everyone who was active loved the product. So that was the first thing that we did. We had to make sure that we made something that was worthy of getting behind and selling. Then we had to figure out, with a scrappy team and with co-founders who all had full-time occupations, how do we get to the consumer at scale? And that's when we looked at Amazon, and we had an intimate relationship with Amazon because in college, that's how we got books. So we were one of the first companies that actually, 10 years ago, doubled down on Amazon. And that's how we chose to get it to the consumer at scale. And after we had years of data and analytics from being successful on the Amazon platform, we were able to leverage that into nationwide distribution with Target and Walmart.
Wow. I want to get into Target and Walmart, but so if you could pinpoint where at which point the business really started to take off, what would you say it was?
I would say 2014. That's where we say that we commercially launched, and it was a pivotal time. I think that it was when my co-founder, Justin, retired from the NFL or was close to retiring from the NFL. We were able to get more time from him in the business.
Yeah.
And then also it's when we decided that retail, like mass retail, was going to be a way for us to accelerate our growth.
Uh-huh.
And so that was a time when we doubled down and we knew that this is going from a niche product, a side hustle, to a full-time company.
Yeah. Are you still a firefighter, or is this your full-time job now?
This is my full-time job now. Yeah,
So 2014, your partner basically was about to retire from the NFL, if not already had. So what about you? When did you dive in?
Yeah. The thing about being a firefighter is, for my profession, I only work 10 days a month, right? 10, 24-hour shifts. So 20 some odd days in a month, I dedicate to the craft, so to the company. So for me personally, I was moonlighting and hustling, putting in 100% on both sides. And it wasn't until last October that I stepped away from the fire department and 100% devoted all my energy into Hustle Clean.
Wow. I mean, to be juggling both, that says a lot about you and your work ethic. So, bravo to you. That's incredible. Okay. So you guys start, you really feel that takeoff point happening in 2014. That's when you decide to go into retailers like you said, Target and Walmart, to name a few. So what secret ingredients made your pitches to major retailers like that so successful, do you think? Because it's not always successful.
It's not. And I think that the secret sauce would be storytelling. So we told an authentic story. And in order to tell an authentic story, you either have to be, a liar, or you have to have an authentic story. And we had an authentic story. Like, the product came from a real place and we totally understood the demographic that we were serving. And we had the data and analytics to show that we spoke to a specific demographic that these major retailers weren't necessarily speaking to. The hustler, the active individual, the individual who placed a premium on dream chasing, right? And we were able to break that down into analytics. And through that, it proved to be a value add to retailers. And so if in summation, when we pitched, we didn't ask for an opportunity, we presented one.
Wow. I just got the chills. I love that. We didn't ask for an opportunity. We presented one. That's awesome. Speaking of, you mentioned hustle. It's for the hustlers, the people like you who were working 2 jobs up until last October. The people like your partner who were working 2 jobs, right? While also making this company happen. So when did the company transform, I should say, from Shower Pill to Hustle Clean, and why? What was the importance of that rebrand?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I think we just celebrated our year anniversary last month. As far as the brand change, and what happened is that we were a victim of our own success. So when we came out with Shower Pill, that's the company's name, and the company's hero product was a body wipe. So It was Shower Pill, the athletic body wipe. Then it went to Shower Pill, the body wipe. And people in the market started to see the Shower Pill brand name became analogous with the body wipe. So when we were running our research and development, and we were trying to figure out what the next product was going to be, we found that a lot of the data was showing us that everyone attributed Shower Pill and the body wipe. They were like synonymous. And so it would kind of make it hard to introduce another product. A Shower Pill a Shower Pill face wipe, a Shower Pill bar soap. Like, people couldn't get over the fact that the Shower Pill wasn't the body wipe. So we had to take a step back and say, if we wanted to scale, if we wanted to reach, to fully serve our demographic, we had to speak to who they were and what they were going through. And we had to change the brand name so that we would be able to introduce a full continuum of care, some different products that wouldn't just be so closely attributed to the Shower Pill. And that's why we changed to Hustle Clean, because we felt like at its incipient stage, at its most granular stage, our products were at the intersection between hustle and activity, hustle and hygiene. And that's where Hustle Clean was born.
Makes a lot of sense. So where did the business go from there? I mean, what additional products and scents have you introduced, and what kind of research led to that?
We have a team of awesome influencers. And so like, everything that we do, we run across panels, we do qualitative research, we do quantitative research, and like we try to get the voice of our community. So like through that, we developed 2 additional SKUs, 2 additional variations of the body wipe, because we understood that we had to do the body wipe the best first and foremost, right? Like it's a niche market, but there's some major players in this market, and we wanted to be a leader in it, right? I mean, we believe that we were the first brand to like make a body wipe cool, if you will. Like, I mean, it is, before us, people call that a bird bath, or people will be repurposing baby wipes, right? Like there really wasn't a wipe that acted as a shower and was FDA and had an FDA approved ingredient to actually kill germs. So like, so we doubled down on that. We created an unscented version and a lavender version. Then we also came out with a dual-sided face wipe with a proprietary formulation. And then we also delved into the hand sanitizer space. Those are the products that we created once we graduated into the Hustle Clean brand. And product development doesn't stop either, right? Like I am excited about what is to come. We're just practicing discipline, and we allow the market to guide us on when to drop products. We're always in the laboratory cooking up new products.
Amazing. I mean, I love that you're stoked when you look forward, but you have to be stoked too when you look behind you. I mean, within a few years, Hustle Clean became an omnichannel company with multiple product lines.
Yeah.
How were you managing all of that? What systems were you running on? I know now, obviously, you've implemented NetSuite, but what were you running on prior to kind of make all of that happen?
I'm going to be quite frank. I mean, some of it was on the back of a napkin, and the other half of it was in basic Excel spreadsheets. Right. So like, every single channel, every single aspect of the business had its own file, its own Excel sheet, its own Google Drive file folder. So that's how we ran the business prior to adopting NetSuite.
Wow. What challenges did you face on that? I mean, I can imagine if you're writing on the back of a napkin, sometimes, somebody sets their drink down and then there goes your next fiscal year plans. Just kidding.
I know.
But seriously, what challenges, how did this inhibit your growth?
When you don't have a centralized product, in a sense, like when you don't have when your business is decentralized, because, every single sector has its own file, it prevents you from making real-time decisions. And when I say that, what I mean is that the data is delayed. Like a lot of times you have to reconcile from here, reconcile data from there. So when you're trying to pull reports, it's just not real time. And then once you pull reports, you have to figure out how the data works with each other. So like, to answer your question, it just prevented us from making real-time decisions with real-time accurate sources of truth.
Does your business have trouble managing inventory, projects, or even getting paid on time? Don't let spreadsheets and QuickBooks hold you back. If you want to get your business to a better place, take action now and make the move to NetSuite. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place, instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite.
Join the over 24,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/business. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/business. netsuite.com/business.
So, I mean, you were telling me earlier, running a CPG company like Hustle Clean, it comes with a fair share of challenges. What does a lack of visibility and access to real-time data like that, how does that impact CPG like specifically?
Well, with CPG, it's half planning for the future and half being nimble and reactive. Being able to react at a moment's notice. So like with CPG, you have a long-term plan, but week over week data changes how you get towards that plan. So not having real-time data, what it does, it prevents you from making the most appropriate decision based off of the facts, because the facts are delayed, right? Yeah. So the best thing for a CPG company is to understand at all times where you're at so that you can properly put into effect the plan that'll get you where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned you're also going into, you've started fundraising now with outside sources. What is it? I mean, how does this kind of lack of real-time data impact that?
Well, absolutely. Well, I mean, the lack of real-time data when it comes to fundraising is sabotage to fundraising, right? Like, they can't coexist, right? Like, if people want to invest in your vision, and they anticipate a return, and they want to know that you understand your business, you understand the opportunity, and you understand how you're going to, create a return on the investment. And at the core of that, the most important part of that is the real-time data, like knowing your business. If you don't know your business, then you really honestly can't communicate or display to an investor where your business is going, because you don't even know what it needs, what you need in the future to get to where you want to go. Like so real-time data is everything, because it becomes an analytical game when you deal with investors. It's like 10% vision and 90% analytics and data, like the numbers. They call them the numbers.
Yeah, so, of course.
So lack of I call it a source of truth. A lack of a real-time source of truth is actually the enemy to raising funds.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think one of my favorite quotes is, math and numbers have no opinion. That's what, and so, you can speak your vision and you can speak your goals, but what people are going to look for is the numbers, because that those speak the truth. So then tell me about your decision to implement NetSuite.
That was a pivotal moment in our business. So pretty much like when we sat down and we thought about NetSuite, or our decision to implement NetSuite, we thought about it. We came to the conclusion based off of where we were going to be, not where we currently were at the time. And we really needed a system that would centralize our business and that would give us the most accurate real-time data for our business by centralizing all of our channels, all of our efforts on the marketing, finance, and operations side. And we also wanted something that was agile enough to fit us where we are, to meet us where we are right now, but also had enough room for us to grow into it, or for it to grow with us as we scaled. So for an analogy, like, we bought the house with the family that we were going to have in mind, right? Like, we didn't have any kids at the time, but we had to buy the house, and we had to buy a big enough house to be able to house the children that we were to have in the future.
That's a great metaphor. I love that. That's great. Yeah. But why NetSuite over competitors? There's a lot out there, what made you guys go with NetSuite?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had, a deep philosophical answer, but I went to UC Berkeley. My favorite team is the Raiders. In the San Francisco Bay Area, NetSuite is a very known thing. Like, it just is what it is. Like, this just the product, the brand name is louder than any competitor. So there really wasn't any other option. Like, just being in the San Francisco Bay, Silicon Valley area, this was the tool of choice that we saw, but also it was the tool of choice that, a lot of our mentors and advisors within the space recommended.
It's great. Doesn't have to be philosophical. It's right there. You just said it.
Yeah, it's right.
Other people
right
were
there.
using it and told you about it. So that's great.
Absolutely.
So how do you use NetSuite? What modules have you implemented?
We are still currently implementing different modules. The first thing first for us is that we wanted to get NetSuite live, right? We wanted to get the company to actually use NetSuite and in our day-to-day functions. And for us, what we heavily rely on NetSuite for is one, finances, right? We got rid of QuickBooks. We don't have to use QuickBooks anymore. We utilize NetSuite for finance. We also utilize NetSuite for inventory management and also invoicing. Where we're at right now with NetSuite is a lot of those functions are manual because we're in an incipient state, but yet even still being manual, our business is centralized now, right? Like everything is being collected in the center, like everything is being collected at its core. And now our next project is to automate all of these integrations. And by doing so, we'll cut down a lot of human resource hours. It'll cut costs in a lot of areas. And it also will continue to give us even more real-time data.
Like what areas will help, cut costs or create efficiency?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like every business owner understands, like when you manually reconciling and pulling reports, those are human resource hours, right? Invoicing, right? Like manually invoicing a vendor, maintaining and updating a demand plan, right? An inventory demand plan. Those are all human resource hours that can automatically be done, updated real time via NetSuite. That cuts out human resource hours, and it also shortens the time between requesting data and actually receiving data. Yeah, because like I said, like we always I see myself as a professional problem solver and a professional decision maker, right? But I need certain things to make the best decision possible. And that's what NetSuite is doing for me right now, doing for our company.
It's funny. This morning, I literally just listened to a podcast episode. It's through the Work Life podcast with Adam Grant. And they said, if you're a good leader when your number one job is solving problems. Because a lot of leaders say, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. And kind of what they were saying in that is if to have a healthy work environment, the leaders of your company should be the ones that you can go to with a problem and they help you solve it. So I love that. I love you say I'm a professional problem solver. That's great.
Professional problem solver.
Now, obviously as a CPG company, what about inventory management? How will NetSuite help you overcome some of those challenges, especially that you mentioned earlier with like demand planning and forecasting?
Yeah, absolutely. Traditionally, with inventory management, it's really a reactive thing in a sense. So like, you have your forecast, you think how much you're going to use, then you have to weigh it against your actuals, and then you have to then you have to update your inventory based on what happened versus what you thought was going to happen. And then you have to take that and then and use whatever mathematical equation that you want to use within your company to figure out when to reorder again based on your lead times. Those are a lot of manual functions. What like a NetSuite does, and what I like about it is that when the transaction happens, the inventory is already tied to the transaction, which means that it already is updated once it's sold, which means that the planning process or algorithms, the planning process to replace that piece of inventory is already occurring at the point of sale. So like I've just cut out 3 or 4 different steps that I do manually by a system just tracking that one piece of inventory and updating the replenishment of that one piece of inventory right now, real time. Right. So, so you see how, when you're dealing with, Walmart nationwide, Target, like, and you're getting crazy orders every single week, you can see how demand planning could be backlogged. You can see how, there's space for, to be inaccurate, right? To make a mistake. So like the automation of all that is just, it can truly accelerate the growth of a business and to make a business more accurate.
Well, and what about helping you manage those relationships with the retailers to which you distribute? How will NetSuite help with that?
I don't necessarily know that NetSuite will necessarily help me directly with a retailer, but it helps me with the on the operations side as it pertains to the tools that retailers use. And that, your 3PL uses. There are a lot of parties in operations, behind the scenes. And a lot of them use NetSuite, right? So a lot of our systems talk. So more so than directly helping with a retailer, it more so helps with the operations behind fulfilling that retailer and do business with that retailer.
Absolutely. It's funny because you were talking earlier about how sometimes with CPG, it's being reactive. You can demand, plan, and forecast all you want, but things change and the world changes, and nothing tells us that more than what we've experienced over the past year and a half. How did changing business conditions amid the pandemic affect Hustle Clean, and how have you navigated those challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pandemic was, there was good and there was bad. The good part is, as a small company, a lot of times your competitors who are larger companies, they can hide behind resources. They can make a plethora of mistakes and never be exposed because they have resources. It's analogous to being inside of an arcade. They have an endless amount of quarters to keep playing the game, right? But I have to win the game with this last 50 cents that I have, right? So, so it was a great equalizer, meaning that we got to see who was talented in a sense, and who could survive, and who really understood supply chain and understood business. And for us, when it hit, we had the same issues everyone else had. There was an extreme shortage in machine time across the nation, meaning that like a lot of manufacturers were like either producing 100% for hospitals and the big CPG companies, or they completely were changing their machines to provide products that the nation was seeking at that time. So basically a lot of CPG companies were just left in the cold. So what we had to do is we had to change our manufacturing model, and we went from utilizing the data, to create just enough product at the right time, into preloading products so that we were basically buying product for the year and not for the quarter. With the lack of domestic manufacturing, we had to go overseas and create whole new manufacturing relationships, all new R&D, compliance, all of the works. And then we had to find other domestic manufacturers, smaller manufacturers, to help us produce for the demand that we signed up for, with our retailers. So that's what we did when it came, and we just changed the way that we our inventory build strategy. And then we also developed and diversified our manufacturing and our 3PL, our third party logistics, our warehousing. We just diversed it and spread it, and basically tried to build a pandemic proof business. And it worked. And it worked.
Were you running kind of like a just-in-time inventory management strategy, and then you kind of moved to a just-in-case during that time?
I like how that sounds. And I'll borrow that too. Yeah, like yeah. It was definitely a just-in-time, because you want to cut operational costs. You don't want to pay for storage. You don't want to hold. You don't want to hold inventory. But the just-in-case that you spoke to, I like that. The just in case worked for us too as well. All it took was a little more accuracy in forecasting,
right?
Taking a little more time. So you were part with more capital up front, but we were more accurate on whether or not we could sell it, that we can get rid of this inventory. So yeah, it worked though. It worked out for us.
Well, and I realized, you only implemented NetSuite last year. And so but did NetSuite play any role in that and helping you be able to kind of switch those strategies and helping you pull the data that you needed for inventory a little bit better as you kind of switched into that kind of process?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it actually did. And like not fully optimized, but like I would say it did in the fact that one, the inventory that we did bring into the fold, it just gave us more confidence in tracking it. Like it gave us, I know where this is at. I know when it leaves. I know based off of a forecast when I have to reorder some more. I'm not just buying a tranche of product and hoping I can sell it.
Right.
Like I had a system. I had an inventory management system that it was going to be implemented in, and we understood the life cycle of it, and we were able to track the life cycle of it. So just having that source of truth made it easier for us to take that bet.
Yeah, of course. You've already spoken to this a little bit. You have some processes like with the data around your inventory and your inventory management, automating a lot of your accounting processes, but what, which we spoke to earlier, but what other lessons have you learned during kind of the pandemic time that have become permanent processes or priorities for Hustle Clean?
Yeah. One, it just kind of like reaffirmed or reconfirmed the importance of a community.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say community, I mean like the customers that we serve, the communities that we built, being able just to have a direct relationship with that community so that when all things fail and all channels fail, when I say all channel, I mean the way that we get the product to the consumer, we can talk to them directly. So that was huge. Owning the customer, owning that data, owning that relationship has changed for us. We doubled down on that. Number two is the diversification of manufacturing, and just having more than one manufacturer, right? Not basing your business off of one partner. So like truly owning your manufacturing process to the point that you can go out and set up shop at any said co-manufacturer and replicate your process at the same quality and demand that you do it at one. And then lastly, investing in our internal human resource, right? We didn't let anyone go during the pandemic, none of our employees. And that spoke to not their job descriptions, but their willingness to be what we call foxhole individuals. Like, when everyone is shooting at us and everything seems imminent, people truly rise to the occasion and make plays in order to ensure the health of our business. And they did that and they rose to the occasion. So like that made us even want to place a higher premium on, employee retention, employee development, and just really keeping good, talented people around and giving them opportunities to self-fulfill, to self-actualize within our company. Because when everything was going wrong, it was the people within our organization that ensured that we got out of a bad situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a lot of conversations with a lot of business owners and, so many of our customers, and I've had so many conversations throughout the pandemic, and the way that you just really put people first in your answer. Of course, you said diversifying manufacturing, which everybody's saying that right now. But the fact that you said that you have that close relationship with your customer, that you can speak to them when things are going wrong, that you prioritize that and you prioritize your people. That's huge. I mean, I love to hear that. I'm like, what, like more, I'm so glad that you're on this episode and that we're able to share this story, because that is so, so important. And a lot of people have thought of, well, what could I have been done better with, my data or my systems or my processes or whatever. And in two of your three answers, it was strictly people. And I think that's incredible, because I think that's the one thing that we lose track of sometimes especially in the US, we lose track of the people part of things, and we get hyper focused on the money and the production and everything else. So I think that's really incredible. And I love that answer. And I'm going to make sure I include that in the summary of this, because like I said, just great answer. Really great response. I talked to a lot of people on that one hit it for me. So what does the future hold for Hustle Clean?
Yeah. I mean, the future is amazing. First of all, this is my life's work. I thoroughly enjoy every moment of this journey called Hustle Clean. It's a very personal journey for me because, one, I'm a hustler and I want to do it cleanly, and when I say that, it's, what we see ourselves doing is making it okay for people on the go, people who are hustling, fighting for their dreams, fighting for freedom, making it okay for them to take care of themselves in the process. So we really want to create products that encourage self-care, but also enables you to go. To do more and be more without compromise. So the future for Hustle Clean is literally being that intersection between going and recharging, going and taking care of yourself. And then also on a business level, we want to be not only a resource, a muse, and also inspiration for other small businesses, minority businesses who are audacious enough to feel like they could change the world and they can do something epic.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, what a way to end. I always have to ask one final question. For we have a lot of first time business owners and entrepreneurs and business leaders that tune into this. So what is your number one piece of advice for other founders?
This is a great question. I would say what I actually tell a lot of founders or aspiring entrepreneurs is either you are or you're not, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're a founder, you're literally going to see your entrepreneurial goals through, or you're going to die trying. Being an entrepreneur is not based off of whether or not you have a successful exit, whether your company is worth X amount of millions of dollars. Has everything to do with your spirit. So either you have the spirit or you don't. And if you're an entrepreneur, do not let your business ideal or the success or failure of it define you. So what I would say is if you're choosing this life, this is what you truly believe that God has put you on this earth to do. This is how you're going to self-actualize, then just commit to it and block out success and failures. And once you do that, it won't be a matter of if you're going to reach your goal. It's a matter of when. So that's the get to entrepreneurs.
Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you, Wale, so much for joining us. This was such an amazing episode, and we're so glad that you wanted to take part. And we look forward to, Hustle Clean world domination in the future.
I so appreciate it. Thank you for your time as well.
I love that advice. If you're going to dive into the entrepreneurial world, you better go headfirst and all in. Thank you so much to Wale Forrester for joining us on this episode and giving us such an awesome story about Hustle Clean. I've provided a link in the description of this episode if you want to learn more about Hustle Clean, as well as Forrester's LinkedIn information. I also want to shout out to our editing crew over at Lampstand and all of you, of course, for tuning in. Hey, if you like what you heard, don't forget, rate, review, and subscribe. Bye.
You just listened to the NetSuite podcast. Be sure to tune in every week with more NetSuite developments, stories, and insights into the benefits of one integrated system to help you run your business.